Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh. Shalom Yahweh Shai, Shalom Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the whole for elect in the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be. And wherever you may be, to you I say Shalom, Yasharala, Shalom. This is going to be a quick hit, because there's not much to read here. All right, I mean, you get the most of the impact from the title. It says Mexico forces every phone user into the Agenda 2030 surveillance system. Biometrics slave grid activated. All right, Mexico forces every phone user into the Agenda 2030 surveillance system. Biometric slave grid activated. Now, of course, the title is extra fancy, but nonetheless, I guess it does its desired effect. So it says Mexico has become the latest country to flip the switch on the end of anonymous communication, and the globalist architects of Agenda 2030 are threatening to roll out the plan in America next. As of January the 9th, 2026, every single mobile phone line in Mexico, prepaid, postpaid, physical SIM, or eSIM, must be biometrically registered to a verified government ID. Okay. And notice the date here. It says January 9th, right? So this was a while back. Well, not really a while back, but and it says prepaid, postpaid, physical SIM, or eSIM must be biometrically registered to a verified government ID, or CURP, or face total cutoff by June 30th. That's roughly 127 million numbers every call, text, and data ping forever tied to a real human face, fingerprints, and iris scan. All right, and that's pretty much it on that. So that was way back then. Now it says the date here is April 8, 2026. So it's interesting that it says as of January 9, 2026. So I'm not sure if this is a resurface, or even though the date is for January 9th, why is it now only popping up for April the 8th? So, you never know with these articles here. All right. But, it says every single mobile phone line in Mexico, prepaid, postpaid, physical SIM, or eSIM, must be biometrically registered to a verified government ID or face total cutoff by June 30th. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're talking about June 30th, 2026, even though it doesn't specify. That's roughly 127 million numbers. Every call, text, and data ping forever tied to a real human face, fingerprints, and iris scan. All right. So it's just basically them wanting to identify, all right, all these people. This is part of the article. I'm not sure. No, I think that's something else. Yeah, no, this is something else. But I saw biometric. Yeah, let's talk about some other stuff there. Yeah, so I mean, just a quick one here. Okay. Now we're not even sure. Let's see if we can find an update on this thing. Can I highlight? Yeah, I can highlight this. Let me see if I can do this. I wonder what happens if I put in, I don't know. And get rid of this. And let's type in update. That's not update. Update. Let's see, there's nothing for 20. Let me see here. Let me type 2026. Okay. Well, that's Reddit. Effective June 30th, 2026, Mexico has mandated that all 127 million mobile phone users register their phone numbers with biometric data. All right. And that's the only one. That's only from what, Reddit. Well, here's another one. Mexico bans burner phones, a guide to the new 2026 mobile. See, I thought I was going to say it down below. Let me click on it real quick. 2026 mobile registry. Oh, there you go. Mobile registry. You see, basically identifying everybody. Okay. It even says it right here in Spanish. registro obligatorio, obligatorio, registro obligatorio, something like that. Measures to force users to register their mobile phones have been attempted several times in the past, but this time it appears the policy is likely to go into effect. Look, this one's from December 24th. Okay, but that's what we were looking for, June 2026, and that's what it says here, June 2026. Pretty sure it's going to give us the same information here. All mobile phones in Mexico must be registered to an identifiable individual or company starting in January. This regulation states that telecommunications companies may block both new and existing lines that do not meet this requirement. So I'm guessing this opened in January, but it's supposed to fully go into effect by January 2026, but it's supposed to go fully into effect by, what was it, June 2026? That's what I'm guessing what it's saying here. The move aims to make it harder for criminals to acquire burner phones commonly used in telephone scams and other illicit activities. See, they always have something here to give a rhyme and reason. It's not really about the criminals. Criminals may be one aspect of it, but it's not really about the criminals. It's ultimately being able to identify everybody, okay? Because these people are moving forward towards that ultimate agenda, right? Which is the MOTB. Commonly used in telephone scams and other illicit activities, but digital civil rights groups argue the policy goes too far. Yeah, I bet. So it said it was struck down in 2021, but I guess it resurfaced. To complete the process, users must provide a valid official ID and their unique population registry code. Accepted documents include voter ID cards and passports. For companies, registration will be done through the Federal Taxpayer Registry. Matter of fact, let me click on, let me see here. Okay, let me click on CURP. How to get a CURP. You will soon need to go to you will soon need to first get a CURP when purchasing SIM cards as part of upcoming reforms to the country's security and telecommunications laws. The announcement comes as President Claudia Sheinbaum, Shine, how the hell you pronounce her name? Claudia SB recently fell victim to a cybersecurity breach, highlighting Mexico's growing digital security challenges. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can figure that was probably done by design. The CURP clave única de registro de población serves as Mexico's equivalent to a social security number. Wow, see, it serves as the CURP serves as Mexico's equivalent to a social security number. It is an 18-character alphanumeric code that uniquely identifies every person living in Mexico, whether a Mexican national or a foreign resident. The CURP is generated from personal information like name, date of birth, and sex, and it remains the same throughout a person's life. Okay, and it's really just being able to identify everybody. Okay, and of course, America already has Social Security cards and numbers and things of that nature. But what does it all lead up to? I'm try to keep this under 10 minutes because it's quick. There's some little quick that I saw there. Revelation 13. Okay, because they want to identify everybody because it all leads up to this. Um, yep, verse. Well, I guess we can get 15, 13, Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Yeah, those that don't want to bow down and worship this system and Esau's ways and go into this new age, this new world, which is a digital one. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Okay, we see them trying to push forward for that system. Okay, using the Strait of Hormuz as a crutch to that. Okay, um, other things that come into play that trickle down from there. Um, food and well, gas was the first thing that went up. Food and just money in general, taking those two things and putting them together. Okay, and they got a weapon, and they're going to use it against the people. But ultimately, there's going to have to be some way they're going to have to reset the system. Okay, what's that in Habakkuk where it talks about the thick clay, all right, that heavy debt. Okay, so he's going to reset this system some way somehow, but they can't just do it. They have to work up into it. Now, of course, the article that we read is talking about Mexico alone, and the CURP is basically like a Mexican equivalent, a Mexico equivalent to the American Social Security number, right? But what does both of those things do? It identifies people, and now they're trying to take everything digital, so they want to digitally identify. That's why I keep talking about digital IDs and digital this and digital that and biometrics, because it all leads up to this MOTB. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark. Right, M-A-R-K is charagma in the Greek. Okay, a stamp or imprinted mark in the right hand or in their foreheads. And those are Esau's devices. All right, 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest the saints should get advantage of us, we were not ignorant of his devices. Excuse me, we are not ignorant of his devices. Just a little bit stuffy. Okay, and his main devices are this microchip and the brain one. Okay, the brain is second rate according to the main one. The main one is where all the control and power is. The second one, the brain device, is just for the lying signs and wonders. All right, giving people eyesight, making people walking, all these type of things, saying they're healing things, ALS and all these kind of other inventions that they make. Okay, but the main one is the one they want to put inside people's hands. Okay, because all that we talked about being registered digitally, that's going to be inside the chip. They're going to digitally register everybody with inside that chip. For those that take it, and those that don't want to take it will be put to death or starved out, shut and locked outside of the system. Okay, one way or another. What out of the mouths of the devils themselves. Okay, if you're not with the system, then well, actually, it's not their exact words, but basically, if you're not with the system, you're not going to make that fusion of man and machine. Then you're useless to us. You're going to be locked out of society. Okay, they want to depopulate, which goes to show you how faulty and their so-called power is, anyways. Okay, but because you want to be God, you want to pretend like you're God, but yet you have to depopulate the population of the earth just in order to rule all the people on the earth. Okay, it really just shows that you're a madman. That's all. Okay, but yeah, and then it gets to the root word. That word Mark Rockman goes into the root word. Uh, I'm thinking about something else. Not tapiosis. What's the word? Grapho, which means to write. So all the information, okay, all those things they talked about, the biometrics, okay, your sex, your age, nationality, whatever else that might be up there. All right, all your medical history, work history, where you shopping, your location, to be able to locate you, to be able to shut you on and shut you off, the chip that is, and all these different things will be controlled by them. That is their way of being and playing God. All right, they have that God complex by the microchip. Okay, and that no man. So here's the remainder of it, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast. All right, so the chip. Okay, and 666 will be embedded on the universal product code. Okay, that will be on the chip that they want to put inside the people. That is the number of this man, these so-called elites, these bankers. So, or the name of the beast, all right, or the number of his name, because you're now been attached to the system if you take this. And if you do, there's no coming back from it. The Lord's going to destroy you. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and 6, which is 666. See, once again, as we just explained, on their product code, all right, the barcode, the lines there, it has a 666, which within that, and you can sure bet that it'll be on that microchip which they want to put inside of your body. And as for you Israelites, you're commanded not to do so, not to make any cut in your flesh. Okay, because once you do that, you're now taking the digital off, and the Lord will destroy you. First, you get Revelation 16:2, and then you get Revelation chapter 14, verses 9 through 11. Okay, but that's pretty much it there. I'm gonna leave it at that. Lord willing, you will edify. To the next thing I'm going to say, Shalom.